Ding dong YouTube, welcome back to the channel, The Jobless Coder here, and today I want to be talking about something that quite frankly pisses me right off, and that is the idea of late fees, or fees in general that are imposed upon you as a form of punishment for something. And so I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about here. When you sign up for a credit card, and you get your credit card and you start making purchases on it, there is an interest on that, and the interest is charged usually per year, biannual, and it is updated every single month. And credit cards are generally known as having some of the highest interest fees that exist, like some even upwards of 20% or even 30% in interest. Now, if you find yourself in a financial struggle, for whatever the situation may be, and you miss a payment or you miss several payments, usually what the banks will do is they actually throw a late payment fee on top of the interest you're already paying. And this is completely bizarre to me. I don't seem to understand why, because if you're in a financial you're in a position where you're not financially able to make that payment, like you're too broke to make that payment, and they throw a fee on there, it's like a poor person's tax. Like, you don't have the money to pay the credit card interest, so why would they think you have the money to pay whatever extra bullshit fees they throw on top of that? And what it does is it creates this cycle of poverty, where the moment you get, say, financially free, or maybe you catch a break and you can get a little bit of money from wherever it may come, and then you pay that to either bank or the credit card, it means that it covers the late fee. You may not have enough to cover the interest on top of whatever the base payment on the card actually was. And so you're getting all this money and you're just throwing it out there to cover fees, and you don't even get ahead anyways. You're still going to be behind in payments, you're still going to be paying the extra interest, and it doesn't make any sense to me because, like I said, if you're too broke to make that payment, now some people, they just don't make the payment because they're just not responsible enough, and that's, I think, the main incentive why these banks and these organizations have something like late fees, because it's an incentive to force you to pay. Because it scares you, like, oh, if I don't pay on time, they're going to charge this extra fee, and I don't want that, so it incentivizes you to pay. But sometimes you may not have any other choice but not to pay. Sometimes you just don't have the money for even the food you need to eat. And so it's not like you're going to send the money to the banks to pay off your credit card bills, because you need to eat and you need to pay rent, and that stuff needs to be covered first. I'll tell you, when I got a job last summer and I moved out to Vancouver here, now I play the alto saxophone, and I haven't had a saxophone in 3 or 4 years, really. Basically, since I since I graduated from high school, I haven't had a saxophone. And so I got a good paying computer job. I figured, hey, I'll actually go out and get something to celebrate. I want to have a saxophone that I can play. And so I signed up with Long & McQuaid for a 3-year rent-to-own, lease-to-own program. And it was a very good deal. This was like a brand new $2,000 saxophone, and it would be 3-year payments of $65 every single month, and I paid the first month upfront right there on the credit card. And then the idea is that they charge you on the credit card every single month for the 3 years, and then you own the instrument. But then I later found out, with my job, the way that the pay cycle worked, the way that the schedule worked, it essentially meant that I wasn't going to be paid for the entire summer's worth of work. I wasn't going to get my first paycheck until September. And so when the Long & McQuaid starts charging on the credit card, and my credit card's maxed out because I've had to cover all these fees up front for cost of moving, cost of living, cost of food, all of that goes up front on the credit card, and so it backfires when Long & McQuaid tries to charge. And so they're like, oh, well, if you can't pay, we're just going to come and repossess the saxophone. Okay, fine, that's what happened. They came, they took it away. That was my fault for signing up for a contract, not knowing my pay schedule beforehand. But then they tried charging me an extra $50. And I was like, where's this money supposed to come from? I don't have the money to pay you the $65 per month for the saxophone, and you've already taken it away from me. So you think I have the $50 to send to you to pay whatever late fee? and I didn't pay, and I still haven't paid, and I don't know where that money ever went to, or if it went to collections or anything, and then that probably puts a bad score on my credit. But it's like, what the fuck do you want me to do? I don't have the money. And so another problem too is when banks charge you money for things that they really shouldn't be charging you money. So I've had paychecks come to me that were wire transfer, and initially right off the bat there's like a $20 fee taken from there just for the wire transfer. Why is that fee there? Like, there's no logical reason that it should be there. It's not like there's anybody behind the wire transfer that needs to be paid that $20. Most of it's done electronically. Most of it's done through computers and software. So where's that $20 going? Well, it goes into the bank's pocket, and then they just invent fees to charge you. And so that's crap. When I was with my old bank at Service Credit Union in Alberta, and now I had a job scam, and I made a video that I'm going to be working on in the next couple days and uploading it on Upwork, and exactly what is everything that is wrong with Upwork. And now I'm not talking specifically about the job scam. We'll probably make another video in the future talking about that specific scam. But essentially, I got a check that was fraud, and I tried to deposit the check that was fraud into my account for the purpose of going and buying software to work for some company. And now, when that check bounced, when the bank found out that it was fraud, then of course that money I don't get. The bank froze my account and I had to close it down and reopen the new one. But then they charged me $20 for quote-unquote dealing with fraudulent checks. That wasn't my fault. I didn't know that the check was fraud. I was led to believe that I was actually going to be working for a legitimate, reputable company, and they were paying me money. And so the bank charged me money, the $20 fee, because I was dealing with fraudulent checks. Well, screw you guys. I had to deal with the police for a freaking month with these people. And so I don't need the extra stress of paying the bank $20 because I tried to deposit a check that was apparently fake. So another one is mobile services. So I was signed up with Koodo Mobile before I'm now with Virgin Mobile. And the way that they find places to interject the fees, like I said, if you don't make a payment or if you make a late payment, then when you finally have the money to make that payment, then they've already thrown an extra $50 fee, an extra $100 fee, whatever, onto that account. And it's ridiculous. And so this happens with most of the banks, this happens with most companies. They have these fees that are injected every single place, and everywhere you turn, people are trying to rob you of your money, and that's literally what it is. It's literal theft, because the fees don't actually pay for anything. It's not like you've agreed to pay for some object, and now you haven't paid for it, so it's like, oh, you're stealing it. Yeah, well, when you pay off the credit card, if you can, when you pay off the credit card interest, if you can, then you've paid for that object. These fees that are injected are just additional barriers that keep you in this cycle of poverty. And so I'm also signed up with Anytime Fitness at the moment. They have a $50 per month fee. And every single time that they try to charge it on the card and it bounces back because I haven't been paid in forever, and because I'm broke, and because I haven't even worked since before Christmas now, then they just add fees on top of fees on top of fees, which means if I can ever get a job and make a little bit of money, if I can ever find an additional source of income, then that money just goes straight to the fees, and then I'm still stuck with the base level payments, the base level interest. It's ridiculous. And so I don't know if this is a problem that anybody else has. I think it's quite a lot of people that are stuck in this cycle of poverty. And some people, they're there because they really have no other choice, because life has not thrown them a bone, it's thrown them a bunch of crap that they've had to deal with left, right, and center. And so to deal with fees on top of all of that, I don't think it's that fair. Now, like I said, it could be controversial, but let me know in the comments if you either agree with me or not, and maybe I'm missing something here that I just don't understand. Other than that, thank you for watching the video. Bye.